Hello and welcome to our second episode of looking at the 4 points. Last time we looked at the first point, God loves me. We looked at how we've been told that God loves us in the scriptures. His love endures forever, it's never ending. And how that love has been demonstrated, how we've seen it in God the Father allowing Jesus to suffer and die on the cross out of his love for us. And how that then shows us the way to show love. Not just to people who we think deserve it, but to everyone. Today, we move on to the next point, which is, I have sinned. Now, we perhaps get hung up on what the word sin means. It's got a lot of, understandably, very negative connotations around it. But basically, sin is living any way which is not God's way, okay? And we know this in a human sense. If we have a particular value, something's important to us, and we know someone that acts against that, acts in a way that they disagree with what we think is right. There's a little barrier that appears between the two of us, even if we're still prepared to be around them. There's a little barrier and of things there where we can't be with them in quite the same way. Okay, and it takes some particular action, like a change of action, or maybe a certain sort of price to be paid or something like that, in order that that barrier is removed and the two of us can act as if that action or that belief or that way of being wasn't there. Okay, now fortunately God is not as petty as us when it comes to these things. Okay, but another way of thinking about it, other than the barrier, is if God is perfect, and perfect in love, perfect in justice, and all of these things, and we act in a way that is different to that, actually these things just don't go together. See, that it kind of goes, but it doesn't quite fit. Those bits definitely don't go. If God is perfect and we are acting in ways that aren't his, we just can't fit together in quite that way. Okay, something needs to change. We need to change the way we're acting and the price that needs to be paid. We'll come on to that during the next point. But if that's God's perfect way of acting, and that's the way that we act, and there we go. That is the perfect fit. Us following God's lead and acting in the way that God would want. The Old Testament scriptures say that evil and sin, acting in the way that we want to, not God's way, has separated us from God. And, you know, that's quite a big thing to deal with. And that was it, in Isaiah 59 verse 2, you can read that. But I find a real powerful verse is in Romans chapter 3. So this is written after Jesus' life. Romans 3 in verse 23. For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And there's an extra bit on that which we come to next time. Fortunately, this is not the end of the story. It's not, the Christian story is not about a God who loves us but is separated from us because of our sin. That's not the end of the story, thank God. And we'll be unpacking that more next time.